In a quiet village in Togo lived two elderly twin sisters who had never married. For more than 70 years, they did everything together. They ate together. They slept in the same room. They worked together. And they never allowed anyone to separate them. But there was one strange promise they made when they were young. They promised that neither of them would marry, and neither would die without the other. And what happened many years later left the entire village speechless. Their names were Omar and Sena. They were identical twins, born only a few minutes apart. From the day they were born, their mother noticed something unusual about them. When Omar and Sena became young women, they were beautiful and admired by many men. Suitors came from nearby villages asking for their hands in marriage. But the sisters refused. One day, a wealthy man came to ask for Omar's hand. Her family was excited. But Omar simply looked at Sena. Then she said, "If I marry and leave this house, who will stay with my sister?" Sena immediately replied, "And if I marry, who will stay with you?" That night, the two sisters sat underneath their favorite mango tree. They talked for hours. Finally, they made a promise. Neither sister would marry if it meant leaving the other behind. And then they made an even stranger promise. They would never allow death to separate them. The years passed, years became decades. The women who had grown up with them got married. They had children. Their children had children. But Omar and Sena remained together. They became known throughout the village as the old twins. Some people admired them. Others thought their decision was foolish. What will happen when you grow old? People asked, but the sisters always smiled. We have each other. And they did. They grew old together. They cooked together. They sat beneath the mango tree every evening. They told stories to the younger people. And whenever one became sick, the other stayed beside her. One afternoon, a young woman named Abla visited them. She had always been curious about the twins. As they sat outside their house, Abla finally asked, "Grandmothers, may I ask you something?" Omar smiled. "Ask." "Why did you both refuse to marry?" The twins looked at each other. For several seconds, neither spoke. Then Sena gently held Omar's hand. "Because we were afraid of being separated." Omar continued, "We were afraid that one day, one of us would have a husband and family somewhere else, while the other would be alone." Abla looked at them sadly. "But don't you ever regret it?" Sena smiled. "No." Then she looked at her sister. "As long as I had Omar, I was never alone." That evening, the sisters sat beneath the mango tree as the sun disappeared behind the village. The sky turned orange. Birds flew back to their nests. Omar rested her head on Sena's shoulder. After a long silence, she whispered, "Sena." "Yes." "Do you remember our promise?" Sena smiled. "How could I forget?" They held hands. Neither of them knew that it would be their final evening together. The next morning the village woke up as usual. Children went to school. Farmers went to their farms. Women went to the market. But something was different. Omar and Sena had not come outside. Their neighbors waited. Then they became worried. Someone knocked on their door. Omar. Sena. They knocked again. Still nothing. Finally, the villagers entered the house. What they saw brought tears to their eyes. Omar and Sena were lying peacefully on their bed. They were holding each other's hands. Both sisters had died during the night. On the same day. Beside their bed was a small handwritten note. One of the villagers picked it up and read it aloud. It said, "We entered this world together. We walked through life together. And when the final door opened, we held each other's hands and walked through it." The room became silent. Some people cried. Others simply stood there in disbelief. For more than 70 years, Omar and Sena had kept their promise. They had lived together. They had grown old together. And in the end, they left this world together. The villagers buried the sisters beside the old mango tree where they had spent so many evenings together. To this day, the story of Omar and Sena is remembered by those who knew them. Their story reminds us that some bonds are difficult to explain. Some people enter our lives and become more than family. They become our home. And perhaps the greatest lesson from Omar and Senna is this: love is not always about holding someone forever. Sometimes it is simply about making sure they never have to walk alone. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who believes in the power of true love and family. Until next time, remember, every life has a story. Red Heart.